y'all. I don't know if y'all heard the joke about the little boy who had a lawnmower. The Southern Baptist preacher said, "Ooh, that lawnmower was pretty good looking," and so he thought he'd buy it. But he can't get that darn thing to start. And then he saw the little boy walk by his house, and he said, "Hey, son, I can't get this thing to start." And the little boy said, "Hey, I forgot to tell you that the only way to get that thing to start is if you cuss."
Oh, no.
And so the Baptist preacher said, "Young man, I've been walking with the Lord for 30 years. I don't know how to cuss." The little boy said, "Well, if you keep that cranking that thing up, Lord, you won't." I thought I'd show you that. I thought that was a funny little joke. But I preached the same sermon several times. Probably this is maybe my third or fourth time preaching the same sermon. I had to tweak it a little bit with the context I'm preaching it to, since you guys are a different church. But the title of the sermon is, "What is the point of the local church? Why do we come to church and assimilate in the building what we call the church or whatever else?" And so through obedience to God, our church will grow. So we're going to be in Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47. Before we get into the passage, we're going to talk about the background of the passage. So Jesus had already ascended to heaven, and he gave his great commission. We'll talk about that later. But he gave his great commission, and he told the disciples, "You'll be my witnesses, for the Holy Spirit come upon you in all Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth." Acts 1:8. And then the 10 disciples had already called the next disciple Matthias, or Matthias, some people pronounce it. I pronounce it Matthias because that's my other nickname. Matthias. And then the Holy Spirit came. We all know that as the day of Pentecost. They were in the upper room. The Holy Spirit came like a whistling wind, and they began to speak in tongues or different languages, depending on your translation. And then Peter came down to the town square in Jerusalem, began to preach a sermon, and 3,000 believers were saved. What a mighty day that was. And then the church began to be persecuted, but that did not stop the gospel being spread. So the early church had officially began. And that's where we get the word church from. What does the word church mean? Where do we get the word church in the Bible? There are several different translations that call it church, assembly, fellowship. What does that word mean? It comes from the old Greek term ecclesia, or the called out ones. The called out ones, what does that mean? It means the people who have been given the Great Commission to. Matthew 28:18-20 says, "All authority has been given to me on earth and in heaven. And I tell you therefore," talking to the disciples, "to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them everything that I have commanded you to do." And then it goes on to say, "Lo and behold, I will be with you until the end of the age." That was what the calling was to the disciples. And that is also our calling. So who founded the church? Christ did, of course. It talks about in the Gospel of Matthew that Jesus was telling Peter, "Upon this rock I will build my church." The word, his name Peter, actually is translated to rock in the Greek. So I will build my church with Peter. And that's how the church began. Now when the people gather in one particular location, we call that the local church. But we call the overall body of Christ the overall church. But right here, the people who are assembled among us today is the local body of Christ. In each and every different locations of churches, they all have a different context of serving, of different ministries. Why? It's because there are different people in the locations. Our church, Lovedale Baptist Church, will always be different than First Baptist Church in Marianna, than First Baptist Church in Graceville. We will always be different because we are always surrounded by different people in our community. Sorry about that. And so that's why we are here as a church. We have called the people who found this church has saw a need in this community to be filled. And so the local body of church has the same universal calling, but has a different calling, as it is to see the needs of the people in this community. So let's read Acts 2, 42 to 47. Let's stand together and reverence of God's word. I am reading from the ESV, English Standard Version following. And they devoted themselves to the apostles, teaching and the fellowship, the breaking of bread, and the prayers. And awe, and in some translations it says fear, and awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing to the needy. And day by day, attending the temple together, breaking bread in their homes. They were eating their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to their numbers day by day those who were being saved. May God bless His holy and mighty word and may He speak. The obedience God will grow our church. Now, how is that possible? I have 3 points of how that is possible. The point of the church is to glorify God in all that we do. If we are not glorifying God in the functions of the church, the body of believers who are meeting here are meeting for nothing. If we cannot glorify God in our church, we cannot do anything without Him. Even when Paul was writing to certain churches, he addressed them as God's church. This is God's church. This is not our church. This does not belong to you, but this fellowship is God's church. That they were doing everything in God's glory. The church belongs to Jesus. He is the chief cornerstone of our church. Without the firm foundation of Christ, it will fall apart. The illustration of a house comes to mind when it comes to a firm foundation. In a house, what happens when you don't have a firm foundation? It crumbles. When Jesus was preaching his Sermon on the Mount, he said that don't be like the foolish man who builds his house on sinking sand. Be like the wise man who builds his house on a firm foundation. In Christ, we have a firm foundation. And if we are not glorifying God, we do not have a firm foundation. We must glorify God in our homes. Where does that start? It starts with parents teaching their kids that church is important. Let me tell you something. When we start teaching our children that something else is more important than church, then we have a problem. When we're off at a baseball game instead of when we're in church, we have a problem. When we're watching Jeopardy on TV, which they're not usually on Sunday mornings or whatever, then we have a problem. If we're watching the Super Bowl on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon instead of going to church, then we have a problem.
Amen.
If we're not glorifying God in our homes, then it is impossible to glorify God within our fellowship, within our assembly. Church is important. We must start teaching our children, our grandchildren, that church is important. Lead them to church. Mentor them in the way that the Lord will have you mentor them. The only way we can glorify God in our churches is if it's happening in our homes. We must glorify God in our assembly. In everything we do here, in Acts 2:44, it says they all came together for a common goal. In some translations, it says they all came together for a common purpose. What is our goal as a church? What is the reason why we are here? What is the reason why we show up at church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night? What are we hoping to accomplish? Are we hoping to accomplish reaching our community? Are we hoping to minister to the kids here, to the youth? Or are we just doing it as a big checkoff of our list? Oh, I've been to church today, time to check that off and live like a devil the rest of the week. We must come here with a common goal, with a common purpose. Let's look at a group of people together who had one common goal, but however the difference is they left God completely out. A long time ago. We're going to look at Genesis 11, 1 through 8. I'm not going to read it. This passage is known as the Tower of Babel, or Babylon. We know that because of this, all around the world, there are different languages. That's where we get Babel from, different languages. These people witnessed the consequences of not glorifying God in their assembly. We cannot be like the people that started the city of Babylon. We cannot go around and come to church and act like we're ministering and we're really not. Or complaining when we really should be praising God while we're here. When we come together, we must glorify God at home and together. If we are obedient through glorifying Him, we will grow as a church. When we come together in unity, it must be through the Holy Spirit. Not through ourselves, because if it's through ourselves, we cannot even hope to accomplish anything. We can only accomplish through the Holy Spirit. Number 2, the point of the church is evangelism and discipleship. This is where I get very passionate about the church, because I am very passionate about why God put the church here on earth. It's through evangelism and through discipleship. In this passage, we see God giving us a command to make disciples. How do we make disciples? Or why should we make disciples? We make disciples by going and telling them the good news of Jesus Christ. We evangelize them. We build relationships. It's called intentional relational evangelism. We build relationships with them. Then we evangelize them. And then we disciple them. And then get them in volunteering in our ministries of the church. Acts 1:8 says, "You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you," talking to the disciples, "you will be my witnesses in all Jerusalem, Samaria, and Judea." As the local body of believers, we are responsible for the people here in our community. We're not responsible for the people over there in Graceville. We're not responsible for the people all the way down in Panama City. We're responsible for the people that were planted here for our local body of Christ. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying that when we go to these communities, we go to the beach, we shouldn't try and disciple or evangelize people while we're there. That's not my intention at all, saying that we, as Lovedale Baptist Church, we should be evangelizing, discipling people here in our communities. So as a local body of believers, we are responsible for the people here. The Bible says in the Old Testament that if we do not share the gospel or the good news with an individual, when they die, their blood is on our hands. But if we share the gospel to them and they die with refusing it, their blood is on our own hands. Think about that. So we are called to reach the people in this community through evangelism and discipleship. After we lead them to Christ, we're supposed to disciple them. That means teaching them sound doctrine. It says in Acts chapter 2:42 that they were devoted to their apostles' teaching, and the apostles taught them sound doctrine. And it is what I see here that the apostles were doing the Great Commission. That's why the church thrives so well, is that the apostles were leading these group of people in evangelism and discipleship. That's why the church rapidly, and I mean rapidly, grew. Nero tried to quench the power of the Holy Spirit, but he could not do it. Nobody can quench the power of the Holy Spirit. But we're still called to do the Great Commission. I also believe that in every person that's involved in the church in Jerusalem were in turn active in the same thing as the disciples or the apostles. So let me tell you this. As a church of Lovedale Baptist Church, the members here, the people who are involved in the work of the Holy Spirit, we are called not to be idle. We are not to be idle in this church. We as Christians, being part of the local church and the overall church, cannot be idle. It really hurts me when we have ministries in this church that are suffering because we are lacking the volunteers, or have volunteers who are not reliable. The believers here became so involved in the work of the Holy Spirit, they were doing everything they can to reach people. And I mean everything they can. They were going to the end of the earth. They were selling their possessions, people. Everything they had, they were selling them. Giving to the needy. So are we doing everything we can in our ministries of the church to reach people for Christ? If reaching people for Christ relied fully on the consistency of people, then we would not be reaching people. And I mean Just because we have young people here in the church does not mean we push all the work on their plate. We all need to work together. We all need to work together to reach the young, the old, and the new. So I tell you that the level of consistency will either make a ministry or it will kill a ministry. Let me say that one more time. The level of consistency will either make a ministry or it will kill a ministry of the church. The level of consistency is vital. If you know that you can't do something, then please don't volunteer to do it. And it's understandable if you can't do it, but there's a lot of things that's limiting in this world. But the last thing that God wants you to do is be lukewarm. James warns us about it. He tells us, do not be lukewarm. What does lukewarm mean? Lukewarm means that, oh, I want to go to church today. Or versus, I want to go to church today and be in the house of the Lord. I want to evangelize someone. I want to disciple someone. You're ecstatic. You're wanting, you're longing to be in the house of the Lord. That's what that means. So being lukewarm is not right. We have to be on fire. We have to be excited about the work of the Holy Spirit. That's what these people were, is that they were ecstatic of what the work of the Holy Spirit was doing in their life. Do not expect to come into this church just to sit in a pew and that's it. Church is not a checklist. We're not supposed to just come to church, sing, listen to the reading of God's Word, and then go home and do whatever else. We're supposed to come together. We're supposed to fellowship. We're supposed to pray together. We're supposed to break bread together. And then we're supposed to go out and minister to the community. And while you're in church, you're supposed to minister to the people inside the church. Because we have lost people coming into this church, and they're longing for answers. They're wanting to know the truth. But Jesus says the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. So don't come to this church expecting to sit. There is a difference between active and there's a difference between proactive. Active means you're not ready. Proactive means you're ready for the work. 1 Peter 3:15 it says, but honor the Messiah as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready for the hope that is in you. But it goes on in NIV, it says, but do this out of gentleness and respect. Always be ready. We know that Agency E3 theme song. Always be ready to tell everybody what we know about Jesus. Always be ready. We cannot afford to be still. Every single one of us has a role in this church that God is calling us. And Paul writes about in 1 Corinthians that we are all one in the body of Christ. How can the legs function if they don't want to do anything? How can we reach people if the legs aren't doing anything? It's vital, it's important that we all function together in unity in the Holy Spirit. We are all many individuals, but with one body. That is the local body of believers, and the whole body of believers. We all have to be active. Proactive. Not active. Proactive. So how can the church move forward if we don't have proactive people to put in place of the ministries? There are plenty of things that you can do in this church where you're constantly being active in the Holy Spirit. Romans 10:14-15 says, how can the people hear if no one will go and preach to them? How else are they going to accept Christ? Matthew 9:37 says, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. We all have a role. We all have to be willing, because the church is here for evangelism and for discipleship. We have to do three things. One, we have to evangelize the lost through intentional ministry and relational ministry. Intentional means that you're going out and you're intending on talking to someone about the gospel of Jesus Christ. The relational means you're going to build that relationship with them first, and then find some way to send them the gospel. So how does that apply to ministries in the church? Relational ministries, you see kids that need the gospel, get to know them on a deeper level, and then tell them about Jesus. Be intentional with it. Intentional relational ministry. Because that's exactly what Jesus did with his ministry. He was intentional, but he was also relational. Number two, you equip the new believers. This is discipleship. We need to equip the new believers of the meaning of being a follower of Jesus. Number 3, you encourage them around us. You encourage them to walk in the way of the Lord. That's bearing one of those burdens, which goes on to the next point. We are to be in fellowship with one another. Now, there are 2 types of fellowship that I'm talking about. We have to be in fellowship with God and in fellowship with each other. As it says that they had fellowship with one another. They broke bread together. They met in people's homes, for crying out loud, because the temple was being overfilled. They were going to each other's homes because the people needed to be discipled and be evangelized, because people were wondering what the heck is going on down there at that church. Is that what's going on here? They have fellowship with God. Having fellowship with God means praying. Are we praying as a church together enough, or are we coming to pray lost saints? Let me phrase that one time. Or are we coming together to pray for sick saints out of heaven? Or are we praying for lost souls out of hell? Are we going to do that? Praying together. The Bible says to pray without ceasing. The same principle is applied here. We must never stop praying. We must pray for the work of the Holy Spirit to work in us as it is to the lost community. So the lost community can be reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ. We must never stop praying. The people were in constant prayer together. They prayed for each other, but they also prayed for the lost in their community. The second thing is they had fellowship with each other. They lifted one another up in prayer. They were in constant prayer for one another. They loved each other. They had a brotherly and sisterly love for one another. They diligently prayed for one another. They had a great time being together in the Lord. They had fellowship. And when I say fellowship, I don't mean they sat in a Baptist church, lunch, and fellowship. I'm saying they mentored one another. They bared one another's burdens, as Paul talks to us about. They lifted each other up. They were there for each other. They loved each other. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says that we should be encouraging one another in the way of the Lord, same as Hebrews 10:25, and Proverbs 27:17 says that we should be sharpening one another as iron sharpens iron. Have you ever sharpened iron before? It's not a pleasant experience when someone else is trying to help you, but it's iron sharpening iron. Sometimes can be a very unpleasant experience for us as they try and mentor us. We have to be in fellowship with others, getting to know one another through being sincere. The thing that really bothers me is when a person comes up to me and says, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they expect you to say you're doing good or you're doing well. But if you don't say you're doing good, if you don't say you're doing well, "Oh, I'm having a very hard time this week." How many people do you think will actually stop and talk to them? We're supposed to be sincere. We're supposed to be doing out of passion, compassion, and love. This right here is discipleship. Is what really happens is discipleship. Being willing to get to know people, to encourage people, to show them God when they most need it. If we are obedient through having fellowship with God and with each other, we will grow as a church. We will grow as a church. The church is a congregation that is making known the manifold wisdom of God. The church is the pillar and the butches of truth. Further, the church is people living together in a life of Christ on a mission for Christ. That is why we are here. So I ask you again, why are you here? What is your purpose for assembling tonight, Lodale? Are you coming to be part of the body, or are you coming to be part of the building? One of my greatest friends wrote a song, said, "Are you coming just to sing a hymn? Or are you coming to worship to sing the hymn?" So why are you here? This building is not the church. It's a building. So we need to start treating it like it. That doesn't mean not to take care of it. If we don't take care of it, it's not being good stewards. But it is just a building. The people here If we start deciding one Sunday afternoon to be on the lawn, that would still be church because of the people. We are the church because when we accept Christ in our lives, that makes us a member of the body of Christ. Let us work together, making evangelism and discipleship a prime goal, and let us fellowship not only with each other, but with God. Tom Rainer wrote an article. I don't know if you're familiar with Tom Rainer, but Tom Rainer is a church analyst. How do you pronounce it? I don't know. But anyway, he wrote an article about the top 10 reasons why churches become sick, deadly sick, or even deceased. So here they are, and I want you to think in your head, what could we be? Number one, declining in worship attendance. Surprisingly, the majority of church leaders do not monitor worship attendance. And then it goes on to say that we should monitor our church attendance. Number two, decline in frequency of attendance of the church members. This symptom is the number one explanation for attendance decline in most churches. Members are not as committed as they once were. They are waning. Love for their church is reflected in their declining frequency and worship attendance. Number three, the lack of joy and vibrancy in the worship attendance. That's otherwise known as the glory. Obviously, the symptom is subjective. It is still, however, very important. Most people can sense when a worship service is very vibrant, lukewarm or dead. Number four,